Hello and welcome, my dear friend. Take a breath with me. Not a deep one, not a controlled one. Just the next breath that comes. Feel it. That simple, automatic, effortless thing your body does, no matter what's on your mind. You don't have to manage it, force it, or make it more than it is. It just happens. And in a way, that's exactly how letting go works too. Not always on command, not always when we want it to, but inevitably, naturally, in its own time. And maybe that's what trust really is. Not something you actively do, but something you allow. The very act of existing, living, breathing, being, is already a demonstration of trust. Trust that your heart will keep beating. Trust that the earth will keep spinning. Trust that life is unfolding, even when you're not micromanaging every step. We talk a lot about letting go, don't we? It's important. It's powerful. And yet, there's something we don't always say. Letting go is not just about releasing what no longer serves you. It's also about releasing the need to let go at all costs. Because sometimes, the more you try to make something disappear, the more it latches on. Like trying to untangle a knot by pulling harder, only to find it tightening in your grip. And here's where it gets tricky. When we struggle with moving on, we start questioning ourselves. We wonder if we're doing something wrong, if we're not spiritually advanced enough, if we lack the power to truly step forward. But that's not true, not even close. Struggling doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. It means something mattered to you. And instead of fighting that, maybe, just maybe, you can give yourself the grace to pause. What if you stopped wrestling with the idea of release and instead just existed? What if, instead of trying to force peace, you allowed yourself to be in the middle of the storm without labeling it as wrong? Because let's be real, some things don't disappear overnight. Some emotions, some memories, some attachments are woven so deeply into you that deciding to move past them won't make them vanish instantly. And that's okay. But here's the thing, God is already handling it. He's already working behind the scenes. The very moment you stop grasping, stop resisting, stop defining every feeling as a problem to solve, something shifts. Because you were never meant to carry it all on your own. Think about this. Have you ever spilled water on a table and instinctively tried to push it into a neat little puddle? The more you swipe at it, the more it spreads, slipping between your fingers. But if you stop fighting it, if you let it settle, it naturally begins to gather, forming back into something whole. Sometimes our emotions work the same way. The more we try to control them, the messier they feel. But when we allow them to be, when we trust that they'll find their place, something incredible happens. Clarity comes on its own. The truth is, growth isn't measured by how quickly you release something. It's measured by how kindly you treat yourself in the process. Because here's what no one tells you. The act of constantly trying to move on can sometimes be just another form of holding on. Think about that for a second. The pressure to release, the pressure to move forward, the pressure to be at peace. It's all just another way of gripping onto control. And control, it's exhausting. It keeps you in this loop of self-judgment, convincing you that if you're still affected by something, you're not doing enough. But what if that's not true? What if you're already doing more than enough? Because let's look at you right now. You're here. You're reflecting, expanding, seeking something beyond the noise. That alone is proof of your growth. That alone is evidence that you're moving forward, even if it doesn't feel like it. So if something still lingers, let it linger. If you can't let go just yet, let go of needing to let go. Just exist, just be. God takes care of the rest. The flow of life does what it does, whether you're watching closely or not. The seasons change, the tides shift, the wounds heal, all in their own time. And you are part of that same flow. And maybe that's where the real transformation happens, not in the moments where we force change, but in the spaces where we surrender to the fact that we're already changing. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how some of the biggest shifts in your life didn't happen when you were trying to make them happen? They happened in between, in moments when you were simply living, when your mind wasn't tangled in overthinking, when you had almost forgotten you were even waiting for change at all. And isn't that proof of something greater at work? The way life rearranges itself in ways you couldn't have planned. The way solutions appear, emotions soften, and clarity arrives. Not through force, but through flow. That's not an accident. That's not luck. That's trust in motion. That's God handling the rest. We tend to name things, categorize them, define them with strict edges. We want to measure growth in milestones, to point to specific moments and say, "There, that's when I changed." But what if most of your transformation is happening in ways you don't recognize? What if you're already healing, already evolving, already releasing, without even realizing it? Because trust isn't always a loud declaration. Sometimes trust is simply allowing yourself to wake up and live your day without demanding that you fix anything. It's choosing to believe that even when you feel lost, you're still on the right path. That even when you don't have all the answers, God does. The mind loves to measure progress in extremes. Either we've fully let go or we haven't. Either we're healed or we're not. But real growth doesn't work like that. Growth is subtle. It's quiet. It's in the days when you think nothing has changed, only to wake up one morning and realize that the thing that once weighed you down doesn't feel so heavy anymore. And it wasn't because you forced it away. It was because you kept living. You don't have to fix yourself. You don't have to be constantly working on yourself as if you are some project in need of completion. You are already whole, even in your struggles, even in your doubts, even when you feel like you're failing at moving forward. The idea that you have to be perfect at detachment? Let go of that. Instead of focusing on what you haven't released yet, look at what you have. Look at how much lighter your heart is compared to years ago. Look at the things that used to shake you, but no longer do. That's proof. That's real, undeniable proof that you are healing in ways you don't always notice. Because the truth is, moving on isn't something you do. It's something that happens when you trust enough to just exist. When you stop micromanaging your emotions. When you stop forcing a timeline. When you simply allow life, allow yourself, allow God to take care of what you were never meant to carry alone. So the next time you feel anxious about still holding on to something, remind yourself, there is no deadline for healing. There is no race to letting go. What's meant to fade will fade. What's meant to stay will stay. And in between, you are allowed to be exactly as you are. Because the truth is, you are already enough. In this moment, with everything you carry, with everything you've yet to release, you are not behind. You are not failing. You are simply becoming. And if this message resonated with you, write, "I trust my process." Let's create a space of reassurance for each other. Remember, my dear friend, you are doing better than you think. You are more than enough. And whether you're releasing something today or simply allowing yourself to exist, trust that you are exactly where you need to be. And don't forget to take care of that beautiful heart of yours. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If you found value in this message, please like the video and share it with others who might benefit. Don't forget to subscribe and continue your amazing journey by watching one of the videos showing on your screen that resonates with you the most. See you there.